It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so welcome back. This is Pete Erickson. I'm the founder of Modev and the creator of Voice Summit. And this is another installment of our speaker series where we're taking a few minutes to get to know the speakers at Voice Summit 2019, voicesummit.ai. So today I'm speaking with Laurence Minsky. Laurence is an associate professor at Columbia College in Chicago, but he's also an author and has written a book all about audio branding. Good morning, Laurence.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
We're doing well. I'm really enjoying these chats. It's a great opportunity to get to know folks before we get to Newark. And was especially excited to speak with you, just given you've been focused on this notion of audio branding, which, before the Alexa and Google Homes really entered into the mainstream, audio branding was a very niche field. But you've written a book on it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's a growing field. It's not as big in the U.S. as it is in Europe and in Asia. And the reason being in Europe, one of the reasons it became so popular is it communicates across platforms, across cultures, across languages, with all the different languages in Europe. So, and it's at any point within the brand's life cycle. So for retail, it could be in the store. For non-retail, it could be in, on your on-hold machine, your ringtones, your trade show booth, your events, and it ties everything together in a way that transcends specific words. People understand the meaning of sounds as much as they understand the meaning of words. And actually more so. And so if you're able to think about that as well as your visual branding, everyone spends all the time on what color their logo is and what font they use, but they don't pay attention to how they sound. And so this brings a greater consistency. The one that you would know, everyone knows for an audio logo is Intel Inside. But what you really want but you really can build an entire language. So the French Open has an audio brand, and an article about that for European Business Review. And so the athletes on the way to the event are picked up in limousines, and there's an audio track that they listen to that's very inspiring, that's based around the event. The people, when they enter, there's an audio track. There's a song that goes on when the awards are given, when the championship. So there's a whole language there, and you could do that with all of your brands. So you got to think of how you sound everywhere.
Well, really interesting. I had a recent experience that was very telling. I got to ride in the brand new Audi e-tron that's coming out next year. It's their, it's basically looks exactly like their SUVs, but it's an electric car. And the car makes a very distinct noise. Kind of sounds like an engine, but it's actually a really beautiful sound. And it's their audio brand of their car on an electric platform. And, you don't hear that from a Tesla. Although what's interesting is I understand regulations are coming that will force electric car manufacturers to have an audio brand associated with their cars so people can hear them in parking lots and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's a tactical kind of thing. Is the car even on? Because you don't hear it. But it should be distinctive, right? So when people hear it, they should associate positive things with your brand, just as if they see your logo. And, thinking of sound, you need to think of sound all the way through. Companies think with cars, we'll continue with that, just the sound of the car door closing, with super strength steel coming out, which is much, much thinner and has a crunch zone to it. It sounds tinnier. So people think, oh, my car isn't built as well. But there are ways to integrate sound into the construction of the car to make it feel like it's a solid car, even though it's super strength steel and much thinner. But then beyond that, what is the uniqueness and how do you stand out and how can you use that to stand out and reinforce the brand equities that you want to say? So if you're a friendly brand, it should be friendly sound. If you're a serious brand, it should be a little more serious.
Well, it's certainly something we're thinking about at Modev and at Voice, and on our voice skill and our Google Action. There is some audio branding built into that. I'll let people go check that out, so you can check out the Voice Summit guide on both Amazon and Google. We also have a daily cast that the staff puts out about things that we're working on behind the scenes at the event. So we, even us as an organization, we're certainly thinking about it. We're thinking about it relative to the conference, certainly. But we're excited to have you at the event. You're going to be part of an authors panel. Before I move screens here, I do want to just mention to folks that the book is available on Amazon. It's also out in audiobook. And we started to share something before the interview, Larry, and I want to really quickly touch on that. You said the audio book is now out, and I asked you if you'd read it, but go ahead and share a little background on the audio book.
Well, the audiobook, it's been licensed. My publisher licensed it to, I believe it's Brilliance Audio that put it out. So it's on Audible as well as purchased as a CD. And you could even check on Amazon to hear the actor reading it. So we did not have a control over how it was produced. It sounds good from what I've heard. I haven't listened to all 7 hours of it, and it's kind of I hear somebody else tell my story. And I tell
you what, I'm definitely going to be listening to it in advance of Voice Summit. So I'll let you know my experience. But interesting, just a little background for folks out there that the book got licensed and then it got produced with an actor, with a voiceover actor, which certainly is part of the brand now of that book.
Yeah, and the book opens. My co-author is Colleen Fay, who is with one of the world's largest audio branding firms, and I approached her to write some articles on audio branding. You could find one on Harvard Business Review that led to this book, and we have a few other articles out. And my vision of audio branding before I met up with Colleen, I knew Colleen from way back when, early in my career, was greatly expanded after talking to her. I worked on a brand where we saved it by coming up with an audio brand for it, a pickle brand. It was dying, it was quickly, and we needed to put the brakes on it. And we developed an audio brand and became the #1 seller in its category.
Oh my
And I learned from Colleen that it's so much more than that. And everywhere you have sound, you need to think about, what does that sound convey about your brand?
That's a great story. What a great testimonial about audio branding. Well, you're going to have an opportunity to meet Larry or Laurence. I see we've got it written in Laurence. We talked a little bit about that. On Tuesday, July 23rd, on our main stage, we're going to have 9 authors basically talking about their books and their approach to this market. What a wealth of information we're going to have. And I think your book on audio branding is right up there, with the others. We're also going to have an opportunity then to meet the authors and get a copy of their books. I hope we're getting a bunch of books sent over to Newark, New Jersey.
I hope, yeah.
If we don't have that in the works, we're going to make that happen. Just so I think people would love to have a signed copy of your book there, and we'll make those accessible on site. But Larry, where do you see audio branding going as a field? You said it's still fairly niche and broader in Europe. But before we close out here, where are we going to be a year from now and maybe 5 years from now related to audio branding?
I see it growing throughout. Understanding of robotics and what are the sounds robots make. And, if they're too close to humans, it's kind of creepy. If it's too far from humans, you can't understand them. The web is going to become screenless in many ways. Obviously, some people are always, and you're always going to need a screen for certain things. But that's what Alexa and all those other personal assistants are leading to, where your website is going to be totally screenless. So what do you sound like there? And can you control that sound, or is it going to be controlled by somebody else? And so all those things need to be thought about, and we're going to be more and more sound and audio enabled in everything we do. So it's going to grow.
That is a key part of the conversation, and I'm happy to announce that we are launching a new networking community at the conference called the Sonic Brand Society. And right now we're putting the touches on an event that will happen the night of the 23rd, really celebrating this emerging market. And it's an opportunity for folks that are in this space to network with one another. And we'll be releasing details on that soon. And we hope that you'll be an active part of that community.
And looking forward to joining. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Well, great chatting with you. Really look forward to seeing you at the end of July. For those of us tuning in, voicesummit.ai is going to take place July 22nd through the 25th in Newark, New Jersey. Ticket prices do go up at the end of May, so you got a couple days to get a ticket before they go up slightly, not much. But definitely check it out, voicesummit.ai, and you'll have a chance to meet Larry and many, many others. I think almost 300 other speakers from more than 20 countries around the world. So, Larry, thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you in Newark.
Same here. Looking forward to being there. Appreciate being this interview as well. Excited about this. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.